Well, Luigi has been caught. Luigi has been caught, and let's get into it. This is one of those cases that I didn't want to solve because, you're kind of on the fence. How much information do you give the feds? But when I went into it initially and I used cards as the fetish object, right? In anthropology, if you attach power to something, you know, or it has a magical, it's called a fetish object. So, one of the things that shamans, magic people will do is they'll use a fetish object in order to get information, right? And we have fun with that here, right? We're smart people. We take this all with a grain of salt. So, if you were to go into the energy of Luigi, the man that is accused of the assassination, and we went into the fetish objects, the cards we got was that we saw a senior suffering at night in chronic pain. We had a vision of a senior that was in chronic pain. And then as I gazed at this senior that was in chronic pain, I felt the heartache and I saw the heart breaking of the killer. So the first thing that you felt when you went into this energy was that this was somebody that was heartbroken, was represented as a heartbreak. And then the other thing was that this individual, uh, there were swords over the individual. When you get swords and when you get swords at night, that can be chronic pain at night. What's interesting now that's coming out, so that was the first thing that we hit. Then I did a remote view, and then I tried to track the thoughts or the feelings of this would be chronic pains in the back. Um, then I tried to track the feelings and the emotions of the individual, the assassin. And what I found myself was in contact with a hacker group. And I went online and I said, this is associated with a hacker group. It's progressive, it's left of center. This is like the some of the violent protest from anarchists that we had seen in the past. This would be a Pain at Night Senior, and this was the image that was presented with the attacker. So when I went into it, that is what I saw. I saw the gray hair, I saw a senior suffering, and I saw this as the motivation of the killer. I didn't see that it was a hired hit associated with some inside trading. I saw that it was precisely as it presented itself, as somebody that was upset because somebody that they cared about had suffered. But when I connected with the person as a remote viewer, I found myself with somebody who was militant left. They were militant left politically, meaning that they believed in revolution, that they were capable of violence, that the days of negotiation and peace were over, and it was time to take up arms, and that we could be seeing the growth of militant groups from the left, just as we have seen militant groups and that are right in the United States. We're now going to start seeing militant groups that are left. And when I went into this individual's energy, he seemed above average in intelligence and he seemed like he was a hacker. Now it's coming out that this individual does, in fact, he graduated valedictorian, he went to Penn State, then he went on to get his master's in engineering, studying artificial intelligence, and is a computer hack, computer whiz. And that is precisely how it felt when I went into this energy. So I was attacked, which is fine. It's part of what I do here. Sometimes I make mistakes, but usually, and for those people who are remote viewers, you're going to get attacked because we may want to believe a particular thing about somebody, Or we may feel that the remote viewer has an agenda. Maybe we question the remote viewer. The truth of the matter is, when I first started this channel, I was not political at all. My job was to simply to deliver the remote views. For example, I did a lot of remotes on Robert Mueller, so I was able to get some information about Michael Cohen, Robert Mueller, et cetera, because it was of interest to people. But when you're doing heart-centered remote viewing, the job is to simply go into the thoughts and feelings of an individual, and they will find communications online with certain people. And that's a shame that people are going to have to scatter, or, what did people know that were part of his hacking groups, fellow engineers or people that were computer wizards that he may have been communicating with about some of his ideas. He loved the Unabomber, who, of course, came out of Berkeley, again, militant, left of center. Some of the things that Luigi was talking about, saving the environment, that now is the time to take up arms, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm just going to deliver the remotes as I see them. And there are 2 women associated with him that are going to be linked with him, that have nice hair, I should say. I see beautiful hair and with one of them. And it could be that maybe he talked about his plans online, or I don't know how, if he was communicating with militant groups out of, say, Berkeley, for example, because of the relationship between Berkeley and these progressive left-leaning. In the case of the Unabomber, it was militant and anarchist groups that are disruptors, and some of them going now to the point of violence. Now, there was no unified group called Antifa. That's true. There was no unified group called Antifa. There was no centralized organization called Antifa. But there were individual groups that cropped up that called themselves Antifa and became violently targeting in certain areas, like here in Portland, Oregon. So that is the energy that I felt over this individual. All right, we're going to do the empath's prayer, and we're going to look at how December, I'm just going to do a general reading on December. People want to know a little bit about what's going on in the Middle East. Assad has fallen, but the leader of the rebellion has ties to Al-Qaeda. So the United States and Israel went in and bombed Syria in order to destroy the weapons so that the weapons would not get into the hands of Al-Qaeda, because right now they don't have a peace treaty with Syria. They have no relationship because there is no government of Syria. So this is why Israel is creating a barrier. They're not trying to occupy the Druids. There's been some, people really don't understand warfare out there. So let me explain it to you. Excuse me. Assad had weapons. He had bombs. And those weapons and bombs should not get into the hands of Al-Qaeda, right? So the United States bombed. This was part of the bombing that I had predicted that was going to come from President Biden. I said, oh, this is like declaring war. I saw Biden bombing. Well, that bombing just happened the last couple of days, 75 bombings over Syria in an attempt to destroy the weapons cache of Assad, so that those weapons don't get into the hands of rebels who may be opposed to the West or be attempting to march on Jerusalem. Now they want to take Israel, right? So look to the Sinai to see if this spills over into civil war in the West Bank, civil war in the Sinai. Will Sisi in Egypt be able to control for some of the disruption that might be taking place in Egypt, because he's ruling Egypt with an iron fist? Let's just take a look. All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, we say, Amen. Predictions for December. We will be getting a public statement. Assad will be making a public statement from exile, if he hasn't already, that he's heartbroken. The jobs report looks great. 10 of Wands, people back to work and business is solid. Lots of new jobs for the holidays. Queen of Pentacles is a business card, and 10 of Wands is there's a lot of work that lay ahead. The contracts that Biden created have jobs going until I think it's like 2035. So just a lot of construction. 10 of Wands, heavy loads, lots of work. Work smarter, not harder, people. And Queen of Pentacles, of course, entrepreneurship, businesses tend to be female. So we think of the Queen of Pentacles as sometimes representing a business. Where we're at right now, great education. A lot of people going back to school in January, winter quarter, looking to be pretty active. Lots of people excited about new courses, new studies. And there we have it, a massive potential risk for a terror attack, unfortunately, over the United States. There's been some drones that have been sighted. Some of these drones are massive, and some of these drones seem to be having a fuel source. One of them was believed detected over Westminster, where the future President Trump, future 47, right, is excuse me, is residing. So we could be seeing attacks. We have to be very careful about stuff. Drones attacks, terrorist attacks by drone, shocking attacks from the sky. I'm feeling, so watch. Financially, people are okay. The world looks stable financially. I'm worried that some of these drone attacks are U.S. terror groups, possibly in it, not just that we could have foreign attackers, but actually U.S. terror groups. We're coming out of letting old ways go, and we're entering into a time of justice. So, excuse me. A nice balanced year in January. Looks like also a year of much truth coming out. The jobs report looks really good for January. You can see here with that Queen of Swords and that confidence card coming in, and also the world. But I'm concerned about terror attacks in the United States right around the holidays. I'm concerned if you're going to a mall or something like that because of that energy of disruption and violence over the country. And then we have the sun coming up. So there's a lot of exposure and new stuff coming up about what's going on in the world. The country is concerned about inflation, and we're very concerned about the deficit. You can see that Four of Pentacles being our issue. Also, there's a grief over the country about death and loss, and possibly because people who have passed away, illness, poor insurance, COVID, all the things that have happened. There's an overall grief over the country. And they say it's a feeling of people coming together and healing, and a real camaraderie over the country for December, with Archangel Raphael coming in as the final outcome. I really feel many older people going back to school, taking advantage of those discount prices. If you're over the age of 62, they either give you free or discounted community college. Our enemies will be exposed. Our enemies will be exposed in December. Corruption will be exposed. And those who have harmed us will be exposed in December. Over the issue of the president that is coming in, President Trump, there will be a protest opposing him, but not as much as happened the first time around. And that could just be because people are focused on their own lives a little bit more, and the economy looks to be fairly strong going into the new year. It's going to be interesting going forward, but for now, I would say the economy is strong. The biggest threat, I would say, for December is terrorist attacks, and possibly even domestic groups engaging in terrorist attacks, drones, and other possible ways of being attacked by air. All right. Be safe out there during the holidays. Thank you so much for tuning into this quick video. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find the information below. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.